So hello and welcome to this Facebook Live. I'm really excited that recently we just published and launched our 7 days of raw food with 7 raw foods chefs. And this is a 7-day guided meal plan which has so much value. It's pretty amazing. But here on our Facebook Live today, we're going to be making one of those recipes, and it's actually the first recipe in the whole plan, and it is kelp noodle and lentil sprout soup with a spicy seaweed miso broth. And so I've got everything here. We top it off with some super hot fermented salsa, which actually is a hot sauce, not a salsa, a hot sauce. And we're going to make that as well. But I have some notes in front of me just so I don't forget to share some really important nutrition information with you about how we can boost our immunity. So, Chris, if anybody asks a question, so you can ask questions in the comments below, and then Chris, if they have a question, you can just ask it at an appropriate moment, and I'll answer it. So as I talk, please think about the things that you would want to ask me, and hopefully I can answer those for you. So 5 ways to boost immunity naturally. Well, I'm going to change that to 6 ways. As I started brainstorming, another idea popped into my mind. So the first thing is probiotic-rich foods. That is the first thing that is going to build your immunity and boost your immune system. And how it does this is basically when you're eating probiotic-rich foods like kombucha, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso paste, natto, things like that, you are getting the healthy bacteria that grows in these foods, and you're ingesting that, and that's what actually ends up boosting your immune system in the long run. I have store-bought, yes, I do have store-bought kimchi. You know, I actually make a ton of fermented vegetables, kimchi, pastes, pancakes, cashew cheese, all kinds of things, but sometimes you can't make everything. And there are a ton of really great reputable businesses around that are doing the good, making the good fermented foods. You'll find these things in the refrigerated section of your grocery store, and you can even order some online. So Carthane's is raw, unpasteurized, and it's always in the fridge, so you want to make sure. This is a kimchi, and it's made with cabbage, carrots, daikon, onion, sea salt, ginger, garlic, and crushed chili. So if you watch this video a few times, you write down those ingredients, you can actually make your own very simply. And that is with time. So essentially what you're doing is you're taking the foods, you're shredding them up, you're adding salt, and you're leaving them. And with time, the bacteria that already exists on the cabbage leaves themselves, it transforms. So if you've ever seen red cabbage and you've seen that sort of white chalky film on it, or wild grapes, grapes that have like a white kind of film, that's actually wild yeast, and that's the yeast that's in the air that gets stuck on the food, and from there that yeast will transform with time. And it starts out as a leuconostic bacteria, and then as the pH drops when you're fermenting, it changes to Lactobacillus acidophilus. And that is the probiotic that, when you ingest it, really enhances your microbiome. So the microbiome is the internal, your guts, basically your large intestine, your small intestine, your large intestine. And in your large intestine, you've got trillions of bacteria, and these bacteria, they're kind of always combating each other. You have the bad pathogenic bacteria that you're also ingesting from day to day, and then you have the good bacteria that we need to boost our immune systems. And so these two things are constantly battling, but when you have more of the good than the bad, your microbiome is balanced in a healthy way, and you will be healthy. So this is by eating probiotic-rich foods, and I could honestly talk for hours, but I got a lot of things to do. So the next thing, number 2, second way that you can boost your immunity naturally is, got my notes here, medicinal mushrooms. So not to be confused with magic mushrooms. These medicinal mushrooms have been around for over 2,000 years. And actually, in ancient Chinese medicine, the traditional Chinese medicine, the Shendong Ben Tao was, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, pardon me, but it's one of the 3 foundational books of traditional Chinese medicine, and that's like a materia medica, where all ancient Chinese herbalism is founded, and this book mentions medicinal mushrooms many times. So medicinal mushrooms have been around for centuries and millennia, and they've been used to boost immunity. That is their main function. The first thing that medicinal mushrooms will do, every single one of them, is boost immunity. So these include things like the reishi, chaga, maitake, shiitake mushroom, which is a culinary mushroom as well as a medicinal mushroom. And all of these fungi, these mycelium fruiting bodies, they are packed full of polysaccharides, proteins, fat, believe it or not, alkaloids, flavonoids, carotenoids, folate, enzymes, organic acids, vitamins, minerals, and beta-glucans. So just every single element that's going to support the immune system, make your body full of everything it needs to function properly. And so each medicinal mushroom can do its own job as well. So they all help immunity, but then they all have sort of individual functions on top of immune boosting. So the cordyceps mushroom, it's actually a mushroom. So for vegans, you can get a vegan product, but it's an agar-agar. It's grown off of agar-agar. But the original cordyceps from China is actually grown out of the head of a caterpillar. So it's not really vegan. But, you know, make your choice. The cordyceps mushroom is, oh, I hear the baby already. The cordyceps mushroom is good for boosting your energy as well as immunity. The reishi mushroom can help you sleep. It's good for detoxifying the body. The turkey tail mushroom, it's really good for the immune system, helps with fatigue. Lion's mane helps with the nervous system, and it's been shown to help with cognitive ability and memory. It goes on, there's so many. So medicinal mushrooms is your second tip in how to boost immunity. And how you would typically have this is you would probably buy it in a powder form or a dried form, and you want to look for dual extracted. So, any questions so far? Anybody? Okay. So the mushrooms, yes, you could probably find them online. If you're Canadian, harmonicarts.ca, they're an incredible company. They do a lot of wild foraging. They're based out of BC. We've also got omfoods.com that's in Nelson, and then we've also got, if you're American, thrivemarket.com, and they have medicinal mushroom powders as well. Four Sigmatic is a great brand. They mix medicinal mushrooms with different types of teas, with cacao for different types of elixirs. So again, that's your second, medicinal mushrooms. Your third is adaptogens. Okay, so adaptogens, again, this is a huge topic, so we're just going to touch on it lightly before I show you how to make some food here. Adaptogens are foods, specifically herbs, that help the body adapt to stress. So whether that be physical or mental stress, these herbs work on the endocrine system, so helping with hormone balance, everything from your cortisol levels to your sleep to your libido and everything. So adaptogens help bring the body back to a homeostasis. Some examples of these adaptogens are maca. Again, I could probably talk for an hour about each one of these, so instead I'll just give you a really quick summation. Maca can enhance stamina. It helps endurance and libido, and that comes from Peru. Schizandra, it's like a 5-flavor berry. It has pretty much all the flavors, and it's from China, and it helps with total body rejuvenation, and it helps reduce stress. Astragalus provides immune support, and it's also good for autoimmune conditions. And then you have ashwagandha coming from India. It's a general tonic. It helps promote vitality. Rhodiola, which actually you can find growing in Canada in the Rocky Mountains, and it helps with sleep, and it actually can help combat depression. Shatavari is known as a hormone-building sort of female reproductive tonic. And then we have ginseng, which I'm sure that you've heard of. Ginseng is anti-stress. It's also anti-inflammatory. And the last adaptogen I have on this list, there are 30 more adaptogens, but these are kind of the ones that I use on a regular basis, is the goji berry. So our hot sauce that we're going to make right now has goji berries in it, and these goji berries are considered adaptogen. They're considered an eye-nourishing superfood. They have anti-aging properties because of their antioxidants. The carotenoids help the eyes, if I mentioned that already. It's just amazing. Cognitive, psychological, gastrointestinal functions are supported with the eating of goji berries, and again, they've been used in ancient traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years, and once even prescribed as a fertility tonic berry. So we're going to eat some of those. You don't need a lot of them either. All of these adaptogens that I talked about, they can all be used in a tea form. So basically getting these either whole herbs or powders, creating a tea. You can if they're a powder, you can throw them in anything from smoothies to soups to salad dressings to your morning oatmeal to your chocolate latte, anything. So very easy to get these into the body, and adaptogens are the third thing that can help boost immunity naturally. Okay, the fourth thing that can help boost immunity are digestive spices. So when your digestion is working properly, you're able to rid your body of the toxins that are sort of bogging you down. When you're able to digest properly, the energy that you'd be using with your digestion is freed up a little bit more to go to where the body needs it most, and that's to heal the body, to boost your immune system. So there's a huge list of digestive spices. But some of them include cayenne, cumin, and these both stimulate digestion. Then you've got garlic, and that can kill harmful bacteria, it kills viruses. It does do that actually, and can kill like overcompensation of yeast bacteria in the gut. So really raw garlic is excellent for your health. And ginger stimulates the production of gastric juices, detoxifies the liver, and again, ginger is one of these things that's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years. Shouldn't we listen to what's been used for thousands of years and still works? I think that's a really good idea. Some other things that can help boost your immunity through the spices are, well, lemon and lime is not really a spice. It's not a spice at all, but it is something that can help boost your immune system. Because it stimulates digestive juices. It helps make the body more alkaline, even though it's acidic on the outside. It's very acidic on the outside, but once your body digests it, it leaves an alkaline residue in the body, and that can really help promote healing as well. What else? Apple cider vinegar. If you get apple cider vinegar with the mother, that is going to be probiotic-rich. So it helps with digestion. We've got some chopped up jalapenos. That's actually her different recipe, but there they are anyways. And then we've got these magic little peppers. These are habanero peppers. Habanero peppers are one of the spiciest peppers, and I actually have this thing here. Can you take the heat? It's the Scoville, I believe, the Scoville Scale, and it basically ranks the heat of the pepper. And the habanero pepper is the second hottest pepper known to man. The ghost pepper is the first, whereas jalapeno is like way down on the list. So yeah, these guys are dangerous, and we're gonna make a spicy hot sauce with those peppers. Okay, the next thing that is going to be helping your immune system, I guess what am I on, 5? 4, 5? 5. The fifth thing that's going to help your immune system is to sweat. Yes, your skin is actually one of your biggest detoxification organs, and when you're sweating, you're detoxifying your body. You're sweating out, perspiring out those toxins, and that actually can help your body regenerate itself. Everybody knows that exercise is important, but it's especially important to sweat while you're exercising to really rid the body of toxins. And the next one is the sixth thing that I just had to add in there, sleep. Okay, your body rebuilds cells, rebuilds muscle cells, heals itself when it's sleeping. So sleep cannot be underestimated. I know so many people that don't sleep well enough. I mean, I have a new baby, and I'm so lucky that she sleeps through the night, but I know people that aren't getting enough sleep, and sleep is really important to help keep your immunity strong. So those are my 6 tips for boosting immunity naturally. I will recap for you if you just joined. So probiotic-rich foods, number 1. Medicinal mushrooms, number 2. Adaptogens, number 3. Digestive spices, number 4. Sleep is number 6, but sweat, number 5, and sleep, number 6. So those are my top 5 ways to boost immunity naturally. And let's make a hot sauce now. This hot sauce is actually one of the recipes in the recent collaboration that's just been launched called 7 Days of Raw Food with 7 Raw Food Chefs. It is an incredible menu plan that takes you through 7 full days of raw food that basically it's the most gourmet raw food that you'll ever eat. It's got the most flavor. Just thinking about some of those recipes, my mouth is watering. And these recipes are the first recipes in that collaboration. It's not just, I mean, it's a 100-page PDF book, but apart from that, there's articles in it, and you get a guided, there's a members-only Facebook group where you get a guided, basically the menu is guided. So this is a video that you're watching, this is a video that the members of this program that have purchased this program are actually going to be able to be privy to. Of course, this is a public display of what I'm doing as well, but there are so many other videos that are going to be included in there. So if you're interested, it's $47 US, and it's just incredible value. Okay, so the first recipe in that is this hot sauce. Now I'm going to pull up the recipe so I don't, even though it's my own recipe. All right, fermented hot sauce. So why is it fermented? It's a fermented hot sauce because it has 2 things. It has actually kimchi juice in it, and that makes it fermented immediately on the spot. But we also leave it on the counter for a week, and this will ferment. It doesn't actually say here, but it doesn't say to leave it on the counter. Well, it does. It says to leave it on the counter, but then you want to store it eventually. So yeah, leave it on the counter for a week. Don't use a metal lid because when it ferments, the metal lid will sort of start to rust if you're using a mason jar, which you should use. All right, so let's make this sauce. So it's got kimchi juice. So instead of double checking to make sure I had enough kimchi juice, I'm just going to make this to the best of my ability, since it's my recipe. But if you join the 7 days of raw food with 7 raw food chefs, you'll get the exact recipe. So we're starting out with some kimchi juice. So again, probiotic-rich, good for the immunity. Then we have carrots. Now these carrots, organic carrots, good for the eyes because of the beta-carotene. These were actually organic from the garden. So awesome carrots from the garden. Then we've got goji berries. So I mentioned that goji berries are one of those adaptogenic foods. And it's true. Now, the good news is when you soak any sort of dried fruit, sun-dried tomatoes is another example, you don't need to discard the soaking water. The soaking water can actually be repurposed and reused again, and because it's so sweet, it takes on the flavor of whatever you're soaking, and it can be reused. So we're just going to scoop these out. Make my hand all dirty there. Okay, I may use this. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna add it all. Okay. And then I'm going to. You follow me all over the kitchen if you want.
No, can't keep up to you.
Okay. Sorry, should have had a napkin ready here. All right. So we've got our goji berries. We're going to add. Okay. So the recipe is for 6 red Thai chilies. Now my grocer that I went to doesn't have red Thai chili right now, so they have habanero peppers. So I was able to grab one of those, and you know what? I actually really like the taste of habanero pepper better than Thai chili. I'm not a super huge fan of the heat, but I do like the flavor. So I don't really want to use my hands because this is very dangerous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the scissors, and I'm going to not put the seeds in because it's a very, very spicy pepper. And if I put the seeds in, it'll make it even spicier because the seeds and the membrane are spicier. Okay. So I'm just going to see what happens, and I might add more later, but I might not. Cameraman's shaking his head, no. Okay, next one, apple cider vinegar, okay? So this will give it a little bit of a vinegar taste. And the next is garlic. So garlic actually becomes more nutritious, more beneficial if you cut it and leave it ahead of time. And the reason that is because within the cell walls of the garlic, there are different chemical compounds, as you would imagine. One is called allicin and one is called allicin, which I find funny because they're both people's names, but they're not spelt like those names. Anyways, allicin and allicin, when you cut the garlic, they come together. And when they come together, they create something stronger than they are when they're apart. Oh, just like love, isn't that beautiful? So I cut this a while ago, and that's why I cut it before, even though I'm throwing it straight in the Vitamix. Okay. Sticky garlic. It's been sitting there for a while. All right. And then I'm going to add some salt. Alright. Okay, it just says a teaspoon. Okay. You know what I'm noticing right now is I think this recipe needs a little bit of water and a little bit of sweet as well. If you know me, okay, that's about 2 tablespoons. If you know me, you know that I love to flavor balance. And the goji berries actually though might provide enough sweetness. I'm a little nervous to taste it, but here we go. Blender. This will help the carrots really pulverize. Oh, beautiful color. Smells good. It's one of those things you gotta wait, right? It's actually really good. It's good. It's not too hot. It's not too hot. I wouldn't, well, I don't know. I don't know if I even like, I'm not like a huge hot sauce connoisseur. Well, you can decide for yourself. I'm gonna leave it as is. It's hot enough. It's spicy. It tastes like hot sauce, so that's what we're looking for. You could add a tiny little bit of maple syrup to that. You could add maybe one date to sweeten it up. That would give it a different taste balance. You could throw in an onion. You could change it up completely and try different kinds of vegetables instead of a carrot. Try a beet. Ooh, beet hot sauce. Who would have thought? So yeah, this stuff's pretty good. It's gonna go on top of our soup. Okay. So what's time like? What do we got on the time there? Oh, we don't know. Any questions about how many people are watching?
8.
Okay, awesome. So this guy we will use later. What I want to do is things that you can't skip in a live is I need to clean this off quickly. Okay, so we're gonna make the soup now. So the good news with this hot sauce is, it'll last for quite a long time in the fridge. I would say probably a month at least. But you notice that I don't have a metal lid. Make sure that you don't have a metal lid because it can rust. Also, if you're going to leave it on the counter to ferment further, do not tighten the lid. Okay, so just put it on lightly. Because what's going to happen, and also don't put it this full because it'll start to bubble and it will probably overflow. So a light lid and maybe place it on a plate or in something like this. So if it does overflow, then it overflows into the container and not on your counter all over everything. Trust me, I've done it. Okay, let's move on to our soup. So we had some boiling water. It's still hot, pretty hot. Try it again. Okay, so this soup...
We have a question for you.
Oh, question.
Patricia asks, does that hot sauce sit or is it ready to eat?
Both. Both. Ready to eat right now, and you can let it sit as well. It tastes really good as is. Cool. So this is one of the first recipes in that collaboration I was telling you about, and it's a kelp noodle lentil sprout soup. And this is actually one of my favorite soups for breakfast. Yes, I said breakfast. I lived in South Korea for 4 years. Is that loud? I don't know.
It's not bad.
I lived in South Korea for 4 years, and they eat a lot of savory things for breakfast that you wouldn't typically think in North America. So they have kimchi and nori and rice with miso soup for breakfast. So this is sort of my take on, it comes from the inspiration of Korea, although it has nothing to do with Korea. Except if you added kimchi on top of it, then they'd be all about it, I'm sure. So it starts with kelp noodles. So, that's very ironic because actually this is Korean writing right here. It says chonsa te. I don't know what that means, but that's what it says. So these kelp noodles are pretty awesome. You can buy them from OM Foods, Real Raw Food, omfoods.com, realrawfood.com. You can buy them from the grocery store. I recommend though getting them online. They're almost half the price. So half the price less of what you would find them in the grocery store. So just give them a quick rinse. And we're going to use the spicy scissors, which is okay, but make note that you did that. Okay, so we're just going to cut them. Okay. Now you can do, I personally really like this soup as it is. It starts out, they're kind of crunchy. They're crunchy and kind of gelatinous. And they start out like this, but then over period of maybe 5 minutes in the broth, they actually soften right up. And that's because the lemon in the broth with the warm water and the salt will soften the noodles up. So if you wanted them soft to begin with, you could sprinkle some lemon juice and warm water on top, but I find that that's just a bit of a waste of the lemon juice. So what I'll do is I'll just make it how I normally make it. I can't reach. some kelp noodles in a bowl. Okay. And then the next thing, these are seaweed, right? So at Pachavega, I recommend seaweed every day. If you can get it in your diet every day, but it doesn't have to be this. It can be dulse, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It can be nori. It can be, any kind of other seaweed, chlorella, spirulina. But it's rich in iodine, and it's a guilt-free noodle. So pretty good stuff. The next thing that I'm going to add are lentil sprouts. So if you have purchased the 7 days of raw food with 7 raw food chefs, there's a whole section that I wrote about sprouting and why you would sprout and how to sprout, and there's even an amazing infographic on how to sprout, and it's pretty awesome. Which is also included in my online school, Plant-Based Nutrition Fundamentals Level 1. If you're into that, that's a really in-depth education on sprouting. Okay, so you saw I put a lot in there. Check it out. Take a look. So that's that. I'm kind of doing this backwards. I'm like plating it before I'm making the broth, but that's okay. Okay, some green onion. You can also use scallion. I think that like Asian food, sort of Japanese, Korean food is like green onion is just one of those ingredients. Okay, so we are going to, a little bit of garnish. This is dulse. It is another seaweed. It's a smoky seaweed. I really love it. And if I didn't mention before, seaweed is very high in calcium. It's super high in many other minerals, manganese, iron, vitamin C even. It's really high in vitamin C. So just a really awesome superfood that you should eat every day. Okay, let's make the broth. So our broth starts with the water. Okay, so we'll use the Vitamix for this. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of water to start. Okay, just a little bit of water to start. And then I'm going to add some miso. So this is a chickpea miso. I use chickpea miso most of the time because it's soy free. Okay, what else? Gotta get the computer here. Yeah, I can just probably read what's. Okay, so the next thing is the chili pepper. So we like the spice today. Depending on how much you like the spice, you can. This is a jalapeno, so it has less spice than the habanero. So we'll throw that in there. Garlic. Again, I chopped it ahead of time because Allison and Alan had to meet and mingle. It becomes more nutritious. Garlic is anti-inflammatory. It's antiviral. Okay, and we're gonna add ginger. Have you ever seen Ginger and the Spoon trick? So typically you don't actually even have to peel this ginger because it's organic ginger, but if you want to peel it and not lose it, you just take a spoon and you just scrape it. Right. So that just helps get rid of the skin without losing all the ginger. But because this is organic and we're using the Vitamix, we just are just gonna, seem to be using the scissors for everything, right? These days. Okay. Ginger. Digestion, stimulates digestive juices. Okay, tamari. So this is gluten-free tamari. But you can also use coconut aminos. So coconut aminos is the soy-free version. It's basically coconut sap that's been fermented with sea salt. So we're going to use that. Okay. The next ingredient are the dulse flakes. So let's add those too. And the juice from a lime. So here's another little trick. So you can roll your lime, roll it out, and it will help, it'll make it much more juicy. Okay, I can't cut this lime with the scissors, so I definitely need a knife. 1 second.
I thought your trick was going to be to show us how to cut the lime with a spoon.
No.
It's gonna be impressed.
Oh, that's sharp. So yeah, lime juice. Let's squeeze that in there. I like to scrape my lime on the side. That's just, there's so many different things you can do. You can use a fork to muddy it up, but I'll just scrape on the side. Try to get more of that later. Okay, so that is the beginnings of your broth. Let us blend that. Concentrated broth because I didn't add. Whew, smells amazing. I didn't add the full water. So what I'll do is I'll add the water now. No, I won't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour in the broth, the concentrated version of the broth, and then I'm going to top it up with hot water. So then that way I'm not diluting it, and I can keep this now in the fridge as a broth base for many soup to come. Oh yeah. Okay, one thing that I forgot to bring out that I believe we should eat with all of our meals are sprouts. Well, more sprouts. These are broccoli sprouts. I didn't have time to grow them myself, but Eat More Sprouts are an amazing sprout company from Vancouver Island that do a really good job. Okay, throw those back up there. And the only thing that's missing is that bright orange pop from the hot sauce. Yeah. So here goes nothing. Right. Okay. You could also put it in a squeeze bottle and then drizzle it on top, depending on how much you like the spice. So that's it. It's just perfect, actually. Yummy! That's it. So you learned in 41 minutes how to boost your immune system naturally. 6 different ways, my top tips. You also learned how to make an incredibly delicious hot sauce, which you can kind of adjust the spice how you like it, add a little bit more, add a little bit less. Use Thai chilies, use habanero. And you learned how to make an amazing soup broth, which can be the broth of the base of many different soups to come. Any questions?
We do have one from Patricia again. She'd like to know, can you buy chickpea miso at Whole Foods?
Probably, yes.
And if not, online?
Yeah, you'll have to look, are you American? Thrivemarket.com. That's the only place I know, but yeah, Whole Foods will have it. Whole Foods will definitely have it. Actually, South River Miso. South River Miso is a brand, and Whole Foods has it. So yes. Any other questions? Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking your Friday afternoon to tune in, and I hope that you've learned 5 different ways to boost your immunity naturally and how to make this incredibly delicious soup. Of course, as Jamie Oliver always does. Try it. It's amazing. And the noodles are already soft. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh my gosh. I'll make you a bowl. It's so good.
Gotta get paid somehow, hey?
Very, very delicious. And so
literally, this is one of the most nutritious meals that you can make for yourself. Absolutely amazing. Will boost your immunity. Will really, that hot spice is going to get your circulatory system going.